Claudia had some amazing years though, but I'm just grateful. First of all, so those of you who know me and whoever, if you see this online later, my name is Jamie Ogden. I'm the Chief Value Officer here at Keller Williams. I'm up here on behalf of our leadership team, and our leadership team learns, what do? We basically learn what your needs are, where you're at, what you need, and we try to meet them. So we really appreciate your feedback. I feel super blessed that in 2026, I get to share it with you. Blessed the leadership team feels the same way, and I hope you all feel the same way about each other. Also, one warning, I feel blessed that Olivia's online and not here. Hi, Olivia. And I like that you laughed the hardest. Your dad laughs the hardest. I just want you to know that these are hot mics. Yeah. Whispers are heard. So all you might want to have her here is Jamie a raise. Other than that, watch what you say. Just give me a heads up. Not that you'd say anything bad. All right, let's move forward. All right, well, our purpose, as we just said, is to serve you. And then we impact lives. You impact a lot of lives. The more we can impact you, the more lives we all get to share in serving. This is our month of January. We have Jared here. We can give him a premature applause. And today, this is cool. It's a great way to kick off the year because it isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about unlocking what's already here. Right? You have what it takes inside you. How do we unlock this? Okay. And we've already introduced them on on social media, and we have many in the room, but next week we're going to really launch our 2026 ALC. Let's give them a round of applause. And we got Jason and
strong approval of your approach. Right on the call.
Well, some of the feedback that we've gotten in the town hall, and thank you, we're going to talk about that, is that we're going to include more AI. And that's going to be something that we're going to want to conquer with you.
He knows a little bit about AI. A little bit.
What's that?
He knows a little bit about AI.
He does.
A little bit.
He does know a little bit about AI. He does.
It told
And
me
he
to
knows
say
a
yes,
little
I
bit
do.
about one of my next slides. You know a little bit about my next slide. And then call an economic update. I can't imagine a better time to have that opportunity. And here's what he knows about. Probably a lot. Let's get Kelly. We have a couple people to recognize today with the play of the week because we haven't been together for a year. So Kelly had an up year in 2025, so she won. Sometimes you need players like this on your team, people that don't necessarily go and do huge things and then you don't see them. Huge things, that different strokes for different folks. Kelly's steady. Kelly's steady. We need the Joe Mauers who are always steady, and then the Tory Hunters who are fiery. You need both. Kelly's one of those. She's steady at as many events as possible, even before Jason was here. So thank you, Kelly. Way to go. Our Dupre office. She's been with us for quite some time, and she is up 179% in 2025.
Nice.
And do not play cards with her. Maybe go fish, but she is a Texas Hold'em champion. So that helps in the negotiation quite a bit. Let's see what else we got. Okay, town hall. So we had a town hall. For those of you who weren't here for that, we got a lot of awesome feedback. We take it very seriously. So what we wanted to do today is one of the things you had said you wanted is to have a discussion. More discussions at the beginning of team meetings, potentially. And this is just one of the things that we want to clarify. Because what we've heard is during our team meeting, which again, this is a big day for us. Less event, training, talk, potentially, going through lists of things. And then we also heard that we prefer more communication about events and trainings. So, as you can see from a leadership team, that made our eyes cross. And we just want to get a feel from the room. What are some thoughts? There's no judgment. No one's going to get hurt if you were to say less of this or more of that. What are some thoughts? I'm going to open up the room, have a discussion.
Who's gonna be first? Please clarify. Help us out.
Well, what that means to me is that they don't want to spend time in the meetings talking about the events that are coming. They want to have more discussions on panels or what, like trainings, like market stuff. But the bottom part is whatever you got coming, more notice so we can plan for it. That's how I read it when I just read it, but maybe I'm reading it wrong.
That's great. Tasha,
Completely agree with what Lisa said and add to that. Sometimes I can't find the event that you talked about. I go back, was it in an email? Was it on Facebook? It was in the meeting, but now what? And that's my maybe me, but
sure.
help me.
Love to. That's why we're talking.
All I can hear is Jason saying, go check that.
But,
Yeah.
So
Anyways,
feedback room today.
I
we're
think
just
part of it is
gonna-
having like some type of, I mean, not even really consistency, but somewhat. Like I feel like a lot of times it's very scattered, so it's hard to like plan, especially when there's, they might be popping up or whatever. It's like, oh, I have a listing appointment, or I already have, I can't get in at that time, or it's like smack in the middle of the day, or there's, I think maybe a little more consistency would be nice, so we can kind of know when to expect those things. Maybe block out for 'em.
I can tag onto that just a little bit. I loved when you had the calendar on the wall, but when it was really kept up to date, it was great, a visual to see, hey, there's 3 things coming up in the next month, or this month. But that's just me. I like visual.
To go along with the visual that Krista just mentioned, I liked when we had the little flippy thingies on the tables. Because even if
Volunteer.
nobody, even if nobody was in here, you could come in and just find the QR codes to scan for what you were looking for.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I think one thing that maybe needs to just be really clear is our Friday emails that you've sent out has all of
Yeah.
those events in it, all of the QR codes, everything that's in it. So, I mean, we as a market center need to be very diligent about opening those Friday emails. The staff takes a lot of time to kind of put those things together and combine all of the events and upcoming stuff together in one spot. So when we talk about where do we find it, those Friday emails have been fantastic for doing that. So I think,
Scroll down.
right, you just gotta keep going. Right.
Is
So
it
I think we
always,
just need to remind ourselves of that.
is it always a consistent subject line in that one? 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know, I used to
It's
get them, but I
just
think it's like
Friday.
Friday email.
Friday,
Yeah. It just says Friday
Yeah.
email.
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're going into my spam.
So maybe we need to have people just verify their email addresses back at our front desk to make sure we have everybody's current. She can do more work.
The other option would be is if you, like you send out on Tuesday, that reminder thing of the call and stuff like that, is maybe on Friday when once they post the Friday email, just send, if that's easy to do. I don't know if that's easy to do, a text message blast, because people like me sometimes don't even check my email all weekend.
Well, and that's where we will have continue, we'll get you set now, Melanie. We continue to have this conversation because some people don't want more texts. So it's, we just want to fine tune, and it's always going to change, I think, with people at different, where we are at different times moving forward. But we just want to try to drill down better and just be more efficient for you and with you. And then Melanie.
I know when I first started at Keller, the reason why I picked it was because you had a training thing on Wednesday night. It was like at 7 o'clock. Sarah taught it when I first came. And I thought that was awesome because she really had a lot of knowledge and she showed you how to do stuff. And that was one of the reasons why I picked Keller. And that has gone out the door because of COVID and whatever else. So.
Sure. Well, Sarah, thank you for stepping up again. Let's have one more and then we'll put a pin in it. We'll continue discussing with ALC. So if you have, look around their ALC members, if you have more thoughts and opinions, be share with them, and then we'll be meeting next week to talk further. Liza.
So I like that you have the calendar at the front desk that I can grab when I want paper, and I like that it's on the dashboard. This morning I was looking at the January events, and some of them I don't understand as a new real estate agent on what they could be. But I liked that when I clicked on it, I could choose to copy it to my calendar. The only thing that I wish it had was like a couple of sentences of what some of the key takeaways or the purpose of the event is. And then if it's in the invite on the dashboard calendar, when I copy it to my calendar, I can always pull it up on my own calendar to see what the description is. I think that's the only thing that I have is what am I attending for?
Great. Thank you. Well, and for the sake of time, I'd like to keep this moving. Thank you all for the feedback. And so, you know, we do have, welcome, John. JON, you got the H out. So Toddy and Grace have worked their butts off to have 2026 fully planned. There's just moving parts from that we want to keep moving because things happen during the market and they pop up, as well as the regional. They have things that pop up because of her opportunities. So those will still be kind of surprises potentially. However, we've got her all rolled in based on feedback from last year. So, all right, was that good?
Yeah, really good.
All right, I like that too. So thank you very much. And there's just a few more housekeeping items. There's this and that. All right, let's move on. Let's bring in Brian Sunder. We're still looking for gifts from his clues from last year.
So, Andy sent me an email. We got Jared, we want time for Q&A. Make it snappy. This is gonna be short and sweet.
All right, thank you, Brian.
And you don't necessarily need to read this, but I'm inviting everyone for a half hour, 45-minute Mortgage 101. For new agents for sure, but even experienced agents, I think you can get some value out of it. And really, we're gonna just cover the same things that our customers are asking about. Can I afford to buy? You know, it's all based on debt ratio. Do I have enough down payment? Or maybe down payment assistance? Is my credit good enough? What types of mortgages are available? And what's the mortgage approval process? Really, half hour, 45 minutes, knock on my door, send me an email, we'll set something up, and I think we'll get some good value out of it.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And I spent an hour with Brian yesterday, and this was amazing. I mean, I own homes, I understand loans, but I learned so much from this, so I really appreciate what you've done, but he has it. So if you're looking to get some information and dive a little deeper and really truly understand, it's very much worthy and there's high value in it. So thank you very much. Appreciate you.
We're really appreciative of all the heart and thought you put into Christmas around here. Everybody, it just says a lot about the partners we have here. Thank you. You've been thunderstruck. So now, let's go with Toddy. Come on up, Toddy!
Oh, I'm here to talk about events and training. So, with that being said, we have CE Blitz coming. This is something that was highly requested by a lot of you, and yet there's only 4 people signed up. So, in order to make this happen, we need 26 more people signed up by next Wednesday. This is $165. It's 2 days. You're gonna bang out your CE with Mike Brennan, Minnesota Realty School. Lunch is included. The required module is also included in this. And Melissa let us know that this year it is about contracts. And I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about contracts and things like that. So you go really in depth with Mike Brennan. Melissa had the chance to sit in on it and said it was definitely, there was definitely value in it. So it would be a good time to sit down, in a personal setting, ask your questions.
For those of you that know Mike, he's very great at what he does and sometimes a little off script. So he would definitely be willing to talk to you about any questions that you have. For this to happen, we need 26 more people. So if this is something you're passionate about, please make sure that you get signed up before next Wednesday so that we can make sure that we're getting this to you guys. Do you have any questions about CE Blitz or anything we can help you with?
What's the time on those 2 days?
It's 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 5.
And that's Thursday and Friday.
It is Thursday and Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we invite other agents?
Please invite other agents. We are trying to heavily recruit to this event. So if you have anyone, as always, please CCC. But yeah. Do you have CCC?
Yeah. I am trying to get 10 external agents in the room for this. If we don't, I have to then call back and say that it's canceled and I don't want to do that. So yes, please bring external agents. That would be fantastic. If you know of people, please let me know. And it is over those 2 days, please. So I have 80 invites out. I'll do another 35 or so. But 10 would be fantastic. So if you're in the room with them, so they're not coming to an empty room, that would be fantastic. So please let me know.
Asha?
I don't want to be contrary, but it says 9 a.m. So are we 8:30 or are we 9?
It is 8:30. I don't know. I'm gonna need to look at that. Kelly told me yesterday, update it again. I don't know why it's not saving.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
And because it's CE, I don't know how strict they'll be, but I believe you have to be in your seat at 8:30.
Yes.
Or they won't give you your.
Yeah, you do. Yes. Thank you. Okay, cool. Okay, and the last thing I have today is the annual award ceremony happening on February 13th. The theme, we're kind of copying like Met Gala-y situations, if you know what that is. But it's the Pearl Standard and Evening in Black Tie. Now, I don't want you to freak out. That doesn't mean that you necessarily have to come in black tie attire. We don't want anyone to not come because they don't have something to wear. Whatever you have, it works. We would love for you to play to the theme a little bit. It's a lot more fun when that happens. But if you're looking for like an ideal thing to wear, cocktail attire, Jason had to put that into ChatGPT. He came up with an outfit. So just if you need help with that, either ask ChatGPT or you can come to Grace and I and we can help you figure that out. But it's going to be a great evening. We would appreciate if you could get your RSVPs in as soon as possible and let us know if you're bringing a guest, just so that way we can start to, plan. Well, we've started planning, but, just have a better idea of numbers. So please get those RSVPs in and it's going to be a really fun night.
Well done. Hey, let's give it on. Outstanding. That's great. No, you should see some of the outfits we were looking at. My wife looked at them and said, she's not coming. She's gonna take pictures with me. So that's usually the case. Well, before we get started with Jared here, I just want to start with Jared. How far have we driven? 2 hours. You drove 2 hours to be here with you today.
Thank you.
To be here with you today. Okay. Some of our agents heard him down at the WCAR, which is West Central Minnesota Association of Realtors, and they're like, please, please, please. And I love them. We share the same spirit. And the big ask I have of you is afterwards, please take a picture with him and tag him on social media. I think that's a great thing to do because he's going to pour some great stuff into us. Like I said, I couldn't think of a better way to start. Well, almost couldn't think of a better way to start 2026 than with you. If you remember, he was a meteorologist, right? And also a community chief one and a community ambassador. So you did almost all roles in it. And he was all over the Twin Cities doing crazy stuff. And he still does, even though he's not asked. Now you're a keynote speaker and you're a transformation expert. So let's give it up for Jared.
That's like the first time we got walked. I thought we were going to pyro next time. Thanks for having me. Let's rewind the tape. 4 years ago, almost to the date. January the 1st, 2022. I remember it vividly. I was on a walk with my wife. It was New Year's Day by our little abode in West Central Minnesota. I live out in the sticks, by the way. And I remember being very troubled in my spirit. And we got near the end of our walk. I said to my wife, I'm done. She goes, excuse me? I said, I'm done. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm done playing small. Take a look. 43 years old, 3 kids at the time. I have 4 now. That's another story for another day. But I played defense my whole life. You are now. Surgically, no, but I love real estate. I really do. That was a pivotal moment where I decided I was going to do life differently. I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. Like many of you, parents divorced when I was 8 years old. Dad moved 3 states away. I was in a trailer home in southwestern Minnesota. My mom started at 8 years old. I was parenting her even at 8 years old. Some of you maybe know what that's like. I was parenting the parent. She struggled fiercely with anxiety, depression, low self-esteem. Had an older brother at the time. He recently passed, which is another story we'll get to. But he was already struggling with alcoholism, even at 18 years old. So I had all this negativity, all this uncertainty, all this chaos falling into my lap, whether I liked it or not. Anybody else can relate with some of this stuff? Yeah. I was the emotional janitor in my house. And because of that, I created a mindset on how life should be and how it should operate. And I lived that way for 4 decades. And I was playing defense and I was running away constantly. What's interesting is I had 2 successful careers, one in TV. I was exiting or finishing up one in the financial world at the time. On paper, I was crushing it. But on the inside, I was disaligned, unaligned. There was a disconnect with actually who I was. And I was tired of waiting, right? Don't you understand? Like, so many people in this life, they're waiting. They're kind of waiting for the world to show up. They're waiting to get validated. They're waiting for something to happen. They're waiting for the paycheck. They're waiting for the success. They're waiting for the title, whatever it is. And they're waiting for the world to validate them. And it became abundantly clear at 43 years old, like, if I don't start becoming, it ain't going to happen. And I can look at the transformation that's happened in my life in just over 4 years, and I can trace it back to that moment that I decided. It's said that there's nothing more powerful than somebody who makes up their mind. You ever heard of that? You have the ability to make up your mind at any given moment in your day, and when you decide, it cuts off every other possibility. The root word of decide is side, C-I-D-E. It means to kill, cut off, and destroy. And when you decide, you create a new identity, and then you create a new reality. See, I believe that we have more power to choose our destiny than we've been led to believe. I think our lives at the same time are more choreographed than what we fully understand. I think that we will see that. That's why hindsight's always 20/20, right? But it seems like in this moment, my life is being choreographed like a movie. There's a producer, there's a director, there's PAs, there's a writer, there's a script writer, but yet I'm also the main character in my movie. And I get a choice as to how this movie is going to flow, even though there's an ultimate director guiding me along the way. And that makes life bold and exciting for me, because I'm not just a byproduct of my circumstances. That's what I believed for 43 years. I thought my life was purely a byproduct, breadcrumbs of whatever the world was left and gave to me. And I made a decision I was going to seek out and change whatever I needed to change to not live this way anymore. After that walk, I reached out to people in my social circles that I felt were doing it different. If you remember back in 2022, like, it was still like post-COVID days. If you scroll social media, it was just barking and yelling and screaming. You guys remember those days?
Yeah.
But there was like a few people that spoke a different language. You know what I'm talking about? Instead of talking about politics and complaining and yelling and hating, they were talking about growth and opportunity and expansion. And I was like, whatever the crap they're doing, I got to figure out what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so after that walk, I started reaching out to people. It's mentioned in chapter 1 of my book. And what I discovered and have discovered over the course of several years is I have now become friends with people who are doing it different. They're living a life undeferred. They're betting on themselves. They're understanding that they get a say in this life. They're bought in on personal development, growth, expansion, correct? You know what I learned about them? They weren't necessarily doing anything different, even though that they were. At the core of their beings, they were different people. They were somebody different. The way that they understood money and their future and their life, and their past and their presence, they existed in a different realm than where I existed. I existed in self-pity, blame, anger, resentment, contempt. And as a result, my life was capped in every single area. And unbeknownst to me, as I started to seek out a new way, my inner being began to change. Here's the deal. When your inner being changes, guess what happens to your external reality? It changes. There's a couple of fundamental truths I want to just kind of start with. And then we're just going to kind of I'm just going to lay in some foundation. We don't have a ton of time here today, which is fantastic. I love this because A, we can just get right to the point, no fluff, right? Just get right to it. And also, too, I want to make this kind of an open discussion, but I just want to open a little bit with my story so you kind of know where I'm coming from. But your inner reality shapes your outer reality. If you want to change your outer circumstances, guess what you first must change? Your inner, right? So many people, like, this is the beginning of the year, right? People are like, we're going to do it different, 2026, New Year's resolution time, right? Make big goals. I hear that, I scroll on social media and I'm supposed to make big goals. So I make big goals and I write them down and they're big and they're scary because that's what people influencers on social media tell me I'm supposed to do. And they shove it in their pocket or in a drawer and they don't become anybody new. And guess what happens? There's nothing new. If you go into this year the same person that you went into 2025, guess what result you will get? The very same one. But if you can shift on the inside and actually change your identity, then your outer reality will actually catch up and prove you correct. So just let me ask you a question here. And by the way, this is just a little bit of an intro, and then I want to get into more of exchange. I've got 6 pages of notes I created today. I've got 4 frameworks we could throw on the board today. I've got hours and hours of content. There's no way, shape, or form we're ever going to get through that. I want to take this the direction that it needs to go down. Okay, so I want to have, I'm being 100% certain, I want to have a very open discussion. But let me start you with this question. How much do you actually believe that you get a say in how your future ends up? Let's chime in. Go ahead.
100%.
100%. What do you mean by that? Like,
Because everything that I do in my life, it's up to me to do it. And it's up to me to implement whatever it is that I choose to do. And I mean, I know that I have let things from my past hold me back and make criticism of people in my family or what have you.
Right.
But I mean, I realize now, and that it's just up to me, and that I need to not care what anybody else is feeling in my family or whatever, and really more focus on how I go forward.
well, I thought God was in control.
Well, there's that too. And it's not my show. I do realize that too.
Right. I know this is a fairly faith-friendly environment, so I'll just steer it that way. So lots of times I can't do that from stage, so I'll just steer it that way. And again, with all due respect, with people's beliefs here, no disrespect, 100%, and I mean that 100%. God is the director; He's the GPS, right? But at the very same time, we're a player in our own movie.
Right.
True or false? Right?
True.
He's watching every move you make. And He's actually steering you on course where you can reach your destiny. Believe it. That is truth. And let me get to the next question, which is this. What is the number one lie that you believe about your life that is not true? And I'll share by example my lie. My lie is that life happens to me, not for me. Life is full of chaos. It's full of uncertainty. This world is broke, darkened, it's dark, broken, chaotic, and I'm just a player swimming around in this huge ocean and there's sharks coming to get me. And I better keep my nose to the grindstone, work, never relax, never surrender, never take a break, because the uncertainty will come and get me. And that got me only so far. That got me to where I was 4 years ago when I was 43 years old on that road by myself with my wife, saying, I'm done doing it this way. There must be a better way. Why, if you're honest with yourself, do you believe that perhaps is actually holding you back from a greater reality? Yes, ma'am.
Like, you're just not worthy.
Unworthy, 100%. Thank you for being honest. Anything else? Not good. Not good enough. Beautiful. Yeah.
Take care of everyone else before I take care of myself.
Which is interesting, right? That seems like a worthy cause. It's wild, right? Like if you actually look at that, it's actually very selfish in some respects. Like, or I'm not good enough, so therefore I got to take everybody else first, right? It's a lack. It's a need. Anything else? All right, thank you for sharing. Here's another question. I'll keep firing questions so you guys open up, okay? Because I'm gonna get into every single one of you before we're done. I got about 15 minutes left. All right. Where did you play too small in 2025? I've been chatting with a number of you. You guys are a highly motivated bunch. It sounds like most people, if not everybody on this team, is crushing it. Congratulations. I talk to a lot of realtors. Not everybody feels that way. You guys are, and I know that you're a highly coach motivated bunch, so I'm sure you already have revenue goals and sales goals already made. True or false?
Yeah.
You're not waiting for that. You got that, right?
Yep.
By the way, do those goals scare you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do your goals that you have on the board for 2026 make you a little nervous? Like you look at them and like, I have no idea how that's going to come to fruition. Does anybody feel that way?
Yes.
By the way, if they don't, change them. Change them. You know why? Because if they are not big enough where you're like, I look at these things and there's no way that these could come to fruition, you are only working matter to matter, 1 to 1. 1 + 1 = 2. You're working in this physical environment. But if you look at them and you're like, you know what, I feel like there's something on my heart, like we can go even bigger, and it's like there's no way that that's going to be possible, then you instigate the most powerful force in this world. It starts with F. Faith. It connects you to the edge. It connects you to the supernatural. And by the way, I thought I forgot the last question I was going to ask you. I want you to know, and this is a fundamental truth I want you to understand, your ability to receive is always greater than your ability to produce. Okay? You guys are in sales. You guys are driven. I have no doubt. You guys are high energy. I can get that already. Right? You guys are wired hot. So am I. Meaning high frequency. Do. Right? It's not hard to get up and crank out work. True or false? Right. I mean, you would never make it a day in this business if you weren't wired that way, right? So I'm not preaching to the choir here where it's like, you gotta do more, you gotta do more, you gotta do more. And by the way, the doing is 100% necessary. It's 100% necessary, but 100% not enough. Because if you only rely on the doing, you will only get so far. At some point, you need to instigate the receiving. Because the receiving is way more powerful. Let's go back to that last question. Where did you play too small in 2025?
Didn't hire enough.
And hire enough, okay?
That's
Why? Okay? Explain.
Let's make more listing appointments. That's what fuels the machine. That's most important. When I could maybe have said, hey, I have enough cash in the bank to rely on the people I do have. Let's throttle back on that and increase and the full cost to grow. I believe this thing will grow itself. I have pieces in place. I know it, but I didn't do it, so subconscious might not be.
Okay, so what are you doing to course correct for 2026?
Lean on others.
Okay.
Leverage.
Sounds a lot like surrender, a little bit.
Yeah.
Interesting, that's an interesting topic. It's interesting that we actually, by the way, it's a cheat code. I don't care what your spiritual beliefs are. The more you surrender, actually, the more you have the ability to receive. Isn't that incredible? As doers, you think it'd be the opposite. The more I grind and the more I do, actually, the more I get. You will cap yourself. You will only get to a certain point. The doing is necessary, don't get me wrong, but at some point you need to surrender and then allow yourself to receive. Okay? Who else? Where else did you play too small in 2025? Before I move on.
Maybe I'm not sharing enough.
I'm sorry. I'll keep asking. I'll keep firing away.
Everybody else has to figure it out too.
Prioritizing self-care.
Okay, self-care?
Yeah.
Okay. Why didn't you prioritize self-care last year?
I think just that like limiting belief that you're not good enough or not worthy enough. So I need to put everyone else first before I can take care of myself.
Anybody else? Yeah?
Someone on Zoom, said their health.
Health, yeah. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, okay, so we got health, self-care, a couple of answers, right? It's interesting because it's like, what do we want? Think about that. What are you trying to create and grow and build in 2026? You've got, again, revenue goals, sales goals, I'm sure, right? You've got these big goals that lead to business. And what's interesting when I coach people is I'll say, what do you want? And we'll create an intention and we create the document. We've got it laser focused and we're vividly clear on what that is, right? And then I'll follow up with this question. And here's the question to you. And it goes back to some of these answers. I'll say, where in your life do you know you need the most correction? And or where's the area of your life where it needs a little TLC? Where is the lowest hanging fruit in your life that needs the most attention? Does that make sense? Meaning you can have somebody who's in business and in sales and say like, well, my goal is to sell X amount of houses, create this much revenue, which you guys have created those goals, right? I want that, I desire that, I believe I can have it. But if I'm really honest, I really feel like over here my marriage is slipping. I really feel that my connection to my kids is hurting. I really feel I'm allowing my body to kind of slip out of shape and I'm not as disciplined as I used to be. So you want this, but this one needs the most help. And let me ask you a question. It's a little rhetorical. I think you know the answer. Are these two connected?
Yes.
Even on paper, they don't look like they're connected. Are they connected?
Yes.
I'll tell you every single time they're connected. Every single time. In fact, when I'm working with people, I will spend more time on this over here than the big goal over here is why they hired me. If you've ever been to counseling for a child, I have 4 kids, so inevitably I've been to counseling for my children. Right? I'm trying to parent 4 children. It's always funny. You go to counseling because you're trying to solve an issue or correct something with your kids. And the counselor, guess what? They're just asking questions about you. It's like, well, stop asking questions about you. Start asking questions about my kid. That's why I'm here. They understand, like, if we can correct the parent, we'll correct the child. So be very aware of the things that you want, but then also be very aware of the things that need the most attention in your life. In fact, maybe that's a takeaway for taking notes here today. Consider the things that you want, but then consider where in your life you need the most inner work, or perhaps outer work. Because lots of times that's the correction that you need to then receive. Fair enough? Let's bust out the whiteboard, shall we? Come on. Woo! Okay. A couple of frameworks I just want to share with you. Let's just start with this one. How do we really have breakthrough? I want to have breakthrough, right? I want to rock and roll, man. By the way, I hope you guys just don't want linear growth. I hope you want exponential, meteoric. It's 100% possible. Now, if you show up to 2026 the way you show up to 2025, it will be linear. So you need to keep expanding and growing on the inside. So how do we manufacture breakthrough? Well, the very first thing that we need to have is desire. You need to have a burning desire for more. Again, rhetorical, I won't ask you guys to chime in, but if you had to consider your desire to accomplish your goals and help people in 2026 on a scale of 0 to 10, where would that be? Generally motivated people, it's what?
10.
It's 10. Okay? You have to have the desire. There's got to be hunger. There's got to be a fire, right? I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I'm a Michael Jordan fan. Inevitably, grew up watching Kobe, right? You watch any of those videos, you watch The Last Dance, right, with Michael Jordan, you know, and you can't deny it. Like they just had a hunger, dude. They just did. This was expected out of you. They went above and beyond that. They do 3-hour workouts. He'd show up an hour early, spend 2 hours after game, shooting, lifting. The desire there was incredible. Show me somebody that has built something incredible without a massive hunger and desire. It does not exist. By the way, if there's anybody in here who does not have a 10 out of 10 desire, ask God to give you more desire. Have a desire to have more desire. Second piece is belief. And not just belief, it's belief cubed, meaning there's 3 parts to belief. Okay? The very first thing that you need to have belief in is you need to have belief in your cause. What you are doing, the service you're providing, how you are helping people. Do you believe in what you're doing? Do you believe in what you stand for? Do you really think that you can help client A, client B? I sure flippin' hope so. Because if you don't, how the heck are you going to get them to sign on the dotted line? You have to be a 10 out of 10 in your belief in your cause. Because the people who are potentially going to buy houses from you, guess where their belief is? 2, 1, 5. So if your belief's at a 7 and you're talking to a 2, but you got to get them to a 10 to work with you, how are you going to do that? Guess what? Your belief has to be on point. Second piece is you need to have belief in your, oh, this one hurts, in yourself. Are you the chosen one? Have you been chosen out of 8 billion people to cross paths with this particular family that has a specific need that you can solve? Hallelujah. You know what that does to your belief when you look at it that way? Sends it through the roof. And then you become magnetic to receive the things that you want. I got to tell you, like, I speak for a living. People are like, I want to be a speaker. I wish I could be a speaker. You show up and you talk for an hour and they pay you thousands of dollars. Unbelievable. Dude, you want your mind and your being messed with? Go be a speaker. You know why? Because you'll travel to places and you got to go on stage in front of hundreds of people and you got to prove to, they're paying you to tell a story. You know what that does to your psyche in the middle of the night? It messes with you hard. And as I'm driving, just like I'm driving here, Jared, you've been chosen for this. There's 8 billion people here. Because my ego and my insecurity want to say, who the heck are you? What are you going to tell these people that's going to be of any worth whatsoever? You're wasting everybody's time. That's what the enemy and the negative forces in my world and my flesh tell me. Jared, you've been chosen. There's a reason why I crossed paths with Jamie down at UCAR and blah, blah, blah. I was chosen for this. And that's not arrogance, guys. That's belief. That's something magical. Now you're developing the edge in sales. Coming. The third one, you have to believe that you actually deserve it. People struggle with this one. Again, that's not arrogance. This is living at a level that like resonates with something supernatural. You ever meet those people, maybe you do them back in high school? It's like they had this delusional belief in themselves. They talk about their dreams, and you're like, this guy's an idiot. Like, how is he talking about doing all these things? And then, by golly, 20 years later, some of the people I went to school with that had that crazy belief, guess what? They're flipping doing it. They did it. They somehow self-actualized it. Like they made it happen. How did they do that? Is there some technology at play that they were tapping into that actually made it come to fruition? Actually created their outcomes that they were looking for. I think that there are. And I think that this really speaks to it. A lot of people, if you're really honest with yourself, again, you know why? Why didn't you get it? Don't feel worthy. Don't feel worthy. Don't feel worthy. It will be a spiritual block for you to receive. This is the hard one. You need to take all of that, and then you need to subtract the attachment to outcome. This one's hard. You gotta want it. You gotta want it. Hunger, hunger, hunger. I'm gonna show up every single day. I'm gonna pour energy into the system. And I'm gonna believe, baby. I'm gonna believe in my cause. I'm gonna believe in myself. And by golly, I'm gonna believe that I deserve it. 100%. And at the very same time, you live in this duality where at the very same time, you have zero attachment to whether it happens, it doesn't happen, if you get it, if you don't get it, if it comes in the way I thought it was going to come, or it comes in some different way, the inability and necessity to micromanage your life. This is where the magic happens, and it has another word tied to it: surrender. For you to receive more in 2026, it will be correlated with your ability to surrender. It seems paradoxical, doesn't it? It seems like the more I work and the more I press in, the more I will get. That is necessary, but without this, you are working in this physical world. 1 + 1 = 2. But what if 1 + 1 actually equals 10? Who knows? Maybe it equals 100. Maybe it equals infinity. Unlimited. Here to tell you, again, not to get woo-woo spiritual crazy on you, I gotta tell you, your creator wants to give you not a piece, not a chunk, everything. And the only reason why we get held up is because of our own internal state. If we change that internal state, we can change our ability to receive. And receiving will always be greater than creating on our own. Every time. There's a word I want to throw out there that really speaks to this. Right there. Wholeness. Wholeness is a result of surrender. What do I mean by wholeness? Again, I want it, I desire it, but I don't need anything. This goes back to that word validation. I want to let you know, again, I've only got a couple minutes left here. If I do anything, made you switch anything in your minds in the short time we had together, I want every person in this room to know you are fully validated. You lack nothing. You have everything. There's nothing anybody could do to you, give to you that you don't already have, and the opposite is true. There's nothing anybody could take from you that you don't already have fully. You could take everything away from me, and I want to be postured in such a way that I'm still fully whole. Meaning, not someday, right now. Do I have big goals? You bet I do. But you know what? Right now, whether they come to fruition or not, I already have everything. I'm fully whole. I'm fully validated. This world is fighting for me. And again, I'm going to say it. The most powerful people that I know, that I follow and try to emulate, they are so whole that they are postured in such a way that no matter what happens, good, bad, cataclysmic, tragic, or amazing, they always defend their creator. Every single time. That's hard. I'll give you a very quick example. I quit my job 2 summers ago. I fired myself from a 6-figure financial job to pursue this wholeheartedly. Scary, because I had 4 kids at the time, 4 mouths to feed, 1 income mine, 0 backup plan. I had already committed to writing that book. I was 3 months away from launching it, November the 19th, 2024. Just get me to November the 19th. November the 19th, just get me there. I think that will create enough momentum for me to actually have a sustainable business and support my family. November 19th came and went. It did everything I wanted it to do. Bam, the opportunities are coming in, online momentum is building. Yes, yes, yes. 2 weeks later, on December the 3rd, I got my identity stolen, which I don't recommend. It started as a Facebook hack. They had my social security number and driver's license by 10 a.m. They were in all of my bank accounts by 4 p.m. From 5 to 11, I was on the phone. My phone was going ding, 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 fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud. Every time I opened up a new account, they got into that one, emptied it, and it was that perpetual cycle for 6 hours on the phone. Terrified. Scariest day of my life. Consider the context, right? I did not sleep at all that night. I was, not to be gross, physically ill throughout the night. I called my friend Craig Siegel in New York City at 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, hey, dude, if you've got 30 seconds, call me. He hops on a call with me, and he said this, and I kid you not, first thing he said, he goes, this is going to be the best thing that ever happens here. I said, what? He goes, you just launched your book, didn't you? I was like, yeah. He goes, oh, this is great. I'm like, what? He goes, you have no social media accounts? I go, all my social media accounts are either deleted, I'm locked out of stuff, I can't access, nothing. He goes, oh, this is fantastic. He's like, what an opportunity. You got nothing to do. And I'm like, what? He's like, spend more time with your wife, this is going to be great. And I'm like, dude, are you on drugs? Do you hear yourself talking? And he said this, he goes, be honored this happened. He goes, be honored. Guys, we should be flattered. The proverbial, you know what, hits the fan. When the market takes a turn. When somebody bails on a deal that you thought you had. When life gives you a twist, you have a health crisis. I'm not saying these things are good. You have the audacity to live with such wholeness and surrender that even when the cataclysmic things show up, you say, wow, that must mean there must be something so powerful on the other side, because that's what my friend Craig told me that day. And I got to tell you, I didn't believe it, but I believed him because he said it with such certainty. He said, don't react. Side nugget, we get ourselves into trouble when we're reacting, don't we? We take a look at our budget sheet, we take a look at our pipeline. Oh no, oh no, oh no, I start reacting. Now you're on the call and you're coming from a place of lack, fear, and scarcity, and they can smell it on the other line. They can smell it, can't they? And it propels opportunity. You done that?
He's talking to me.
But if we come from, I gotta tell you, I don't sit down at my computer in my morning until I am fully whole, because if I'm acting out of fear, lack, and scarcity, which is what I did for 43 years, it repels the things that I want. It puts me in a position not to fully receive. I believed Craig, and I gotta tell you, everything blew up in 2025 in a good way. 3 months later, I lost my mom. That was not unexpected, but powerful if you've ever lost a parent. And I felt so elevated. Listen to me. My wife asked me the night my mom passed, she goes, how do you feel? I said, you know what? What an honor that I was chosen for this sacred role. I was parenting her since I was 8 years old. I was put on this earth to love this woman unconditionally and try to heal her heart and mission. I did everything in my power to make that happen. And God chose me to be with her on her last breath. Hallelujah. It elevated me. 10 weeks later, my brother overdosed on alcohol. And when my dad told me at 12:30 in the morning, and by the way, my dad is calling me at 12:30 in the morning, there's a problem. And he said, your brother passed. I don't know how to explain it. I got excited. Not because of the death, but because God is releasing another cataclysmic event into my world, and I can now amp this one up, and release more of that. That makes me more surrendered. That makes me more whole, and that positions me to actually receive more. God is on my side just like he's on your side. And he is manipulating everything down to you getting stopped at a stoplight out here so you can become aware where you need to course correct in your own thinking, so you can then shift and correct, become more like him, and thus receive more of what he actually wants to give you. You guys buy what I'm selling here today?
Oh yeah.
Okay, feeling this? Yeah. Marinate on this as much as you can. We have 5 minutes left. I'll end it here. You can comment as much as little as you want. I know you guys have a schedule to take care of. I would love to. If you can you go to the next slide by chance? If you go to the next slide, by the way, shameless plug here. Please connect with me. Thank you for giving me a shout out. I'm on all the socials. Instagram is where I like to play the most. By the way, shameless plug here. Please go to this QR code. It will take you to a sign up for my newsletter. Okay? If you like anything of what I said, you are gonna love what I email you. I will not sell you on stuff. I will not spam you, I promise. But everything I talk about has to do with mindset, business, and life. By the way, who came to my live event, Breakthrough 2025, last November? Shame on you, none of you. I did my first signature live event last year. It was off the hook, off the hizzy, like the kids are talking about. And I'm doing my next one on April the 23rd. You're the only people that know that, other than the people in my circles. April the 23rd, I'm doing Breakthrough Live 2026, North House, Minneapolis. It's all about business. It's all about mindset. It's all about breakthrough in your life. I've got an incredible lineup of speakers. And if you join my mailing list, I'll know it's you because y'all did it right at noon on Wednesday. And I'll make sure that you're on the mailing list so you get free early access to any tickets that you want for this event once it starts coming out. Okay, make sure that you follow me on Instagram, tag me on anything. I'd love to connect with you afterwards.
Just real quick, this conversation a little bit, but one thing, some people take this potentially as rah-rah. Let's just rah people up. This is their rah-rah too, right? Tell me how important mindset really is, because in your book you talk about you take 90% of what you were thinking yesterday and now you're in that rut. You're bringing that 90% along with you the next day and then the next day. And if you're not doing something to change that.
Yep. So I don't like the motivational talk. Its motivation is it's gone, right? You feel it and it's gone. And some people will be like, oh, I like what you're saying because it's like it's positive mental attitude. I'm all about being more positive. Positivity is just putting a Band-Aid on like a fatal wound. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be something on the innards that change. And to your point, I think what you're alluding to is that 95% of how we act and react with this world is actually baked into our psyche. It's baked into our subconscious. And if you want a new result in 2026, you have got to become super aware of the loops, of the triggers, of the things that irritate you, of the things that where you know you need correction. And if you have the audacity to make a choice and try to unwire that habit, that subconscious, it rewires your neurology. It literally changes your physical body in such ways, and even your mind and your brain change. And then that opens up the door for a new reality. So it's not like, I'm just going to try to be more positive. No. I'm going to try to become aware of where my triggers are so I can make a different choice, so I can start to unwind some of this neurology, these loops, these ruts in my mind, and that is what changes the inner being and thus changes my capacity to receive. You'll get an overview of that in my book if you read it. Thanks for bringing that up. Thank you very much, guys. What an honor to be here.
You gotta show that. I mean, the total Miami Vice guy.
You saw my where I got that.
Yeah, I think that's outstanding.
Just needs a little more stuff.
So what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to have this table here with some books. Please buy a book. That would be amazing. He has a demo option. And I also, because we're going AI, right? I also created a master prompt for you. So what this does is, it's not gonna make as much sense unless you read the book. However, if you want to have the conversation that we had today with yourself in the car, go deeper on some of this stuff, which I think should, unless you want the same run, right? Download this, so it'll bring it to a Google Doc. You copy all the words on the Google Doc, upload it into your Chat GPT, and then you just start talking. See if I can do this live. Hey, I would like to start the discussion from the master prompt from Jared's book. Cue. Let's go. The first one that's on the list. Okay. Now, can we start all over at the beginning from the master prompt? This is coaching. Yes. Yes, let's go. I would say the ability to, the inability to take care of myself when there's other chaos or other needs at work or at home. Now you understand the point. So please upload that. It'll walk you through. Again, it won't make as much sense unless you read the book. I'm not here trying to sell the books. However, when a brother comes up here and shares his heart and soul with you, drives 2 hours, I want to sell out his books personally. I don't know about you. Jared, what's a favorite number that you have? Number? Yeah. Oh, like, I mean, it's something under 60 years. Yeah. I like 7. 7? Was Megan here?
I think she just walked out.
Oh, okay. How we want to do this?
Text her.
Oh, here, how about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We also have lunch. We also have lunch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this up, grab a book, take a picture, please put it on his socials. We'll get that back up here. And let's have a good time. We'll have Mastermind, Mega Agent Mastermind right after. If you're not a Mega Agent, you can sit in the room and listen. You learn a lot. So thank you all.
Ronnie.